All right. Good evening, sports fans, and thank you for joining us for yet another week of the picks of the great mind of Mr. E. Mr. E, good evening.
Oh, thank you very much, Darren. Mind of Steel. Thank you very
Uh,
much. Thank you, and you too. You're the perfect host, the perfect man. We are love you here. And as you can see, the computers behind me, they go crazy every time you show up. Oh boy.
well, I hope that we're making a good impression on everybody. We've been doing pretty good on our preseason picks, and if we can do decent on preseason picks, hopefully you're going to be turning in a regular season for us. We should entertain you with some fun and laughter, but also some serious football talk. So,
Yes.
again,
Yes.
yes. So, last week you went 2 for 2. You did a pretty good job there on some difficult picks, and I was right there with you. So this week we roll in a few games here, and we actually are. Before we get into our new segment, mystery, anything you took away from last week's games?
Well, I think that what I realized again, with three games most teams are playing, it is even different than it was before because with preseason games, people use players differently. A lot more of your rookies, your bubble players playing lots more. Don't see the first string rarely now. It's why it's hard. This is the week where the first stringers are playing. Not
Most of them, yeah,
most will be
yeah.
playing this week. So this is the real taste of football this week because then they rest for the final week slots. I don't know. Some teams might be playing on their third game. It's different world now. Different things. Everything changed. COVID, whatever. Everything different.
That's right. Yeah, this week you're right. We're gonna see some starters. Big Ben will be playing for the Steelers this week. You'll be seeing a lot of different guys, and then like you said, next week we'll roll into it where there's a good chance that some of their in-laws might be playing in the game.
That's true.
But yeah, so we have a new segment we're gonna try to debut this week and see how it goes, and we're gonna play off the mind of the great Mister E, and we're gonna kind of go off of a little bit of a how do you feel about something in being able to say, I'm going to throw a flag because I think it was a bad idea, or I'm going to pick up the flag and put it in my pocket because I think it's a good idea? Okay.
Okay, got it. Put it in your
So
pocket. Okay.
the first one, and probably really the biggest news this week, and again, it's preseason, right? So we're kind of in like who's going to make the team, who's getting cut, not about anything else. Tim Tebow cut from the Jacksonville Jaguars, brought on by his old coach Urban Meyer, who was they were
Yes.
together at the University of Florida and had tremendous success there. This time didn't work out as well. So are you throwing the flag or are you picking it up? Was the Tim Tebow experiment at tight end for Jacksonville a good idea or a bad idea?
I think it was a good idea for Jacksonville. Okay, very good idea for them to do because it gets interest in a team that sucks. Okay, they nobody cares, but people were paying attention to them. Now the other thing is Tim Tebow. I love the guy. I played him big in the playoffs. They with the Steelers many years ago. He's a winner, but you can't win when you're 39 years old. I mean, he's too old to play tight end, too old to play quarterback. It's fine. He tried. It's good. I mean, sure. Maybe he's just needs the attention. Doesn't need the money, but he tried. It's okay. I don't have a problem. I pick up the flag, say I keep it. No, it's no problem, Tim. You won me lots of money before because nobody believed in you. I won money from you, and now you go home. You go and do your college football thing again. Love you there. Do a good
Or
job.
baseball or whatever.
Baseball,
Yeah.
whatever he wants to do. That pickleball, he could do good with that. Pickleball, you familiar with that sport? It's
I,
a new
you
thing.
know,
It's
I
coming.
have not played pickleball yet. I enjoy eating them. Uh,
Yes, yes.
but
Pickles are good. Pickles
yes,
are good.
yes,
Yes.
very much so.
Deep fried pickles, very popular at the
Oh,
at the
yeah, the
Gypsy Camp.
chips. Very good
The
appetizer. I
Gypsy
agree.
Camp, we love that.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I mean, I give Urban Meyer credit for two things. One, trying it out. I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to bring in a leadership down there. That's a team that's just been all new guys, and that had to have been hard for him to cut him. So I give him credit for cutting him, but probably an experiment that you almost think maybe it would have been better to bring him in as a coach of some sort or something.
Sure.
I was surprised. I think a lot of people were surprised, and of course the video that kind of went viral was him just awful on that one block. He fell to the ground, turned around, hit his own guy. it was like something you'd see in like Pee Wee football. It was not good. So I agree. I agree with you. So our next one, going off of that, Urban Meyer. Is he going to have a winning season as a coach? Are you picking up that flag or are you calling
Oh,
foul?
you know what? I can't even find the flag. Okay, I don't. I'm not. I am not even going to touch it. It's like nuclear. Okay, it's got radiation on it. I am. There is no way he has a winning season. I know he got 17 games now. He's got to win 9. No way. You take. Have they posted the odds on that yet? On his over under for
I,
season wins?
I haven't seen it yet. I don't think anything concrete until we get that last game.
Right, right. But if it was 2, I'd be like, no, I take that.
Yeah,
If it was
yep.
2, so I'm just saying it's not going to be a good season. He's going to try to build something. He's going to say, I'll give him a chance, but I'm not picking up that flag. No, no
Okay.
winning season for him.
Okay, then I would agree with you on that one too. I mean that team. I mean, there's a few other teams we're going to talk about here tonight. That team's got a lot of. He's got a monumental task. There's no fan base. He's got to get interest in the fan base. He's got to get interest in the players. They're just a little bit all over the place. Trevor Lawrence didn't look that great last week, right? They go out there, 85 yards of total offense in the first half for the Jaguars last week. Even Urban Meyer admitted after he's like, "Wow, that sucked." So, that came out of his mouth. So, I'll have to see how that goes. But not great signs so far with the Trevor Lawrence thing and
When they
everything.
become the London Jaguars, then we're
Gosh.
talking, okay?
Yeah, yeah. Then you have to do an over and under. Who had been the most successful London franchise? The London
Yes,
Monarchs of the
yes,
World Football League or the London Jaguars?
yes. And they
Uh,
should keep that name too, because I would love to hear the announcer say Jaguar. I do love the way the English say that. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and I lay a bet that the most of England would think that that's based off a car, not a feral cat.
Yeah. Right.
So, yeah, I'm going with you on that one too. I just don't see it. Maybe if there was more talent on the roster, maybe if it wasn't the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If they
But
played the Steelers perhaps 17 games because they always play them and win, then maybe,
yeah,
yeah. But no, they're
yeah,
not playing them 17 games. Too bad.
I agree. Okay, that brings us to our third one. Dak Prescott. You talked about some starters being in there this week. Here's a guy that the Cowboys desperately probably wanted to see play at least a drive or 2 or 3 during the preseason. Again, they're not going to do that. Now, Mike McCarthy, a famous coach, even when he's with the Packers, he doesn't like preseason games. He's said that before. You're not going to see many starters in there, but fair, or you're picking up the flag or you're throwing the flag, Dak Prescott will make it through the entire season injury free.
I do not see Dak Prescott actually even starting the first game. I know that he's supposed to. He's going to be fine, but I think that he's going to have some injury, some issues. So I'm just saying, just from that vision that I have, I'm just going to say he does not play all 17 games. Even if he did play, even if Mr. E is wrong and he plays the first game, okay, even if he says I'll be there. He shows up. He plays in a little bit, whatever. He's not playing 17 games, so I am not picking up that flag. I don't think that Dak Prescott, a great player, nothing bad, but it's going to be too physically hard when you get beat up like he's going to get beat up this year. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I'll go with his sidecar. Ezekiel Elliott isn't a spring chicken anymore. He suffered under that offensive line last year, so it's not like he can rely on handing him the ball 30 or 35 times to alleviate the pressure. And Dak, for Dak, everything you're saying about Dak, the kid's a real big competitor. He likes to get in there. He's going to run the ball. He's going to tuck it. He's going to step up into the pocket. He's not afraid. He's a solid player, and that just can also lead to trouble.
That just leads to him not playing 17 games. But he's a great player. I would want
Yeah.
him starting on my team. I'm
Oh,
not
yeah.
saying he's not great. I'm saying he is great. He's a good player. He is a winner. That's the most important quality that gives Mr. E trouble or help. I don't know. It depends. When picking games, who is the winner? Who's going to win? That is the question. And who wins? The winners win. See, I should write that down.
That's
Put it
right.
on the scroll.
Might have to get a T-shirt with that on
The winners win. Put it
it.
on the scroll.
Yes. Well, hey, that rolls us into our first week matchup. Again, we're going to call some preseason games. Again, calling a preseason game is almost as tough as week 1 of the regular season too. You just never know what you're gonna get. I like it when week 2 gets here, so at least we have a little bit of idea what's going on in preseason. You never know what's gonna go on, or who's gonna start. But let's talk about those Cowboys. Again, an interstate matchup against the Texans this week. Mike McCarthy's not going to start a lot of guys this one. He's going to want to see what he's got with them. And then you got the Texans, who are they're the Texans. New head coach. Don't know what's going on with Watson. Yikes. Who do you got in this one?
Yes.
The
Yes.
Texans are favored by 4.
Yes, favored by 4. I think this is weird game. This is going to be a weird game to call because it's going to shift when they take the players the Texans take their players out, their first string, who's going to play a little bit, and can they get enough of a score to win this game? But the Texans are getting 4 points, or
They are getting 4 points. I think that's 4 points, not 4 additional women complaining about Watson.
yeah,
So yeah,
4
points.
more lawsuits.
Clarify. 4 points,
Yes.
not 4 women.
There, yes. So I would, I'm going to say that that there's so much trouble going on with the Texans that even though they're going to come out and look bad, they're going to come back, but they're still not going to be able to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And so even with 4 points, it's not going to be enough, but it might be a little close. If you get another point or two, you might want to take the Texans, but 4 is just not enough.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, the Texans did look good. The running game put up about 170 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Packers last week. Still, it's preseason, so how much can you really, cash in your chips for the bazaar on that one? But I'll go agree with you. I don't think they're going to cover the spread. All the Texans might win this game. I don't think it's going to be by 4. So, okay, that rolls us into the Raiders versus the Rams. Now, this used to be the battle of LA versus LA. Then it was Oakland versus LA, then LA versus LA, then St. Louis versus Oakland, St. Louis versus LA, LA versus LA, and now it's Las Vegas versus LA, and I am spent. So we're back to the Raiders now being in Las Vegas. Last week opened up against a raunchous, massive crowd in Las Vegas, which I think can be expected at Allegiant Stadium there. The Rams, they have a new quarterback in Matt Stafford. You'll probably get to see him a little bit this week. And they're building on that defense again. What do you see on this one? Raiders are favored by, I believe, a touchdown in this game, actually.
Yes, I think they have a lot of hype. Las Vegas is very, very, good at the hype. I don't think Matt Stafford's going to find his way yet. He'll play, like you said, maybe a couple of series, maybe not, maybe 3, a little bit. And then I think that Las Vegas, because of the hype will still continue, they'll be into it. They'll play well. They'll win this game. They will win this game and cover.
Yeah, they look pretty good against Seattle. They were throwing the ball all over the place. Waller is not probably, I don't know if he's going to play. Waller's not 100%. The great tight end out of Oakland there. Arguably, maybe could make a play to be the best tight end in football this year if everything goes well for him. And then the Rams have Leonard Floyd. He's looked great in camp. He had a great season last year, which they needed that edge rusher to do that. Aaron Donald, again, probably pound for pound the best defensive tackle, maybe player in the league out of Pitt. And then you got Leonard Floyd there. So the Rams defense will be good again. I think you'll see him a little bit. I don't know if the Raiders are going to blow up on him by 7, but we'll see. I would take the Raiders, but I'm not going to go by 7 on that.
Yeah, that's a tough one. It is a tough one. I'm just saying that because Las Vegas, they get crazy there. You get it's a big game for a preseason. I'm saying that there's just going to be a lot of hoopla, and
Yes.
and I think that in my vision, I see happiness in Las Vegas. Maybe somebody winning at the craps table. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that I think in this one, I think it would be. I think they will cover. We disagree. We agree to disagree.
We agree to disagree. I agree, Mr. Great Mystery. I do bow to your great intelligence, but on this one, I'll choose to take my own carpet ride on that one. Yeah, I agree. That's going to be fun when we get in our regular season picks. How good are the Raiders going to be, or how good are the Raiders going to behave? You took an NFL team and put it in a city that never really sleeps on the West Coast, and as you said, there's There's just all kinds of things going on in Las Vegas.
Oh, sure. That is, I mean, with the NHL team when they go to play the Golden Knights, people like have a good time, and then they got to go play a hockey game. Now it's
Yeah.
going to be 53 players on the football team, and it's there. So it's going to be really hard to see where the luck is. Is the luck going to be at the tables, at the slots, or at the field?
Yeah, yeah, and they're paying John Gruden an awful lot of money to be average rate by at this point. So we'll have to see how the rest of this preseason rolls out, and then we'll have fun talking about that rolling into the regular season. So that brings us to the London slash Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Saints or the Aints. This one actually could be the most interesting game of the week for people that are looking for some kind of competition. Trevor Lawrence will play again. Again, did not look good last week against that team. You have Taysom Hill against Jameis Winston. The Saints really. This is where the Saints, I think, they at one point said Winston's going to be the starting quarterback. Then you have Hill out there who played a decent amount of snaps. I think they're back and forth on who the starter might still be yet. Hill looked good, 8 for 12 last week in yard-wise, 81 yards, 1 interception. Winston, 7 for 12 for 96 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. However, the Saints had 6 turnovers in that game last week and looked horrible. That's a rebuilding offense, if you ask me. And they do have Alvin Kamara, which we're probably not going to see him this coming game. But these are two teams that are probably going to start a lot of guys that you could see come the first Sunday of the season.
Yes, yes. I think that in this game, everybody's going to be playing at vanilla. They'll be very, very basic. I think they both of the teams just want to win. Okay, but not game planning. They're just going to try to win the game, see their players. Urban Meyer just wants to win. Sean Payton just wants to win. But they're not gonna go crazy. They're not stupid. They're not going to be playing their first string the whole time. So they're going to play. It's going to be a good game, like you said. I foresee a very challenging game. And what's the spread on this one?
I believe right now you have the Saints at a 3-point favorite.
And I think that in this game, I think that I'd still take the Saints at being with the points in this one. That's the way I see it. I think they're going to do. I think they're going to win by a touchdown.
I think so too. I think it's going to be Saints all over the Jags in this one. I think you're going to see both Winston and Hill get some decent playing time. It doesn't matter. I remember we were in a high school football game once, and we turned the ball over and we ran for like we ran until the next game started.
Mm-hmm.
And in the NFL they might not do that, but a bunch of these kids who have a chance to make this team, as they do with the Saints, they're going to remember those 6 turnovers. I think they're really going to be out to try and prove themselves this week. The Jags are just trying to, put on their uniforms right, and make sure their shoulder pads snap together. So I think it's the Saints all over the Jags this week. I agree with you on that one.
And I think also I feel a lot of penalties in this game.
Yeah.
A lot of roughing penalties. Okay.
Yeah. We should
have
had
aggression in this game.
We should have had Urban Meyer and Sean Payton do the flag or no flag on this week.
Right.
So, yeah. Okay, so again, this brings us to a fun one, and I'm not sure on this one. I'd have to check the time, but I think the Bears and the Bills play like at 1 o'clock tomorrow. I'm not sure. It could be kind of fun if anyone has the day off. But the Bills
on Friday?
Yeah. Well, it's a preseason, so like anything goes. I can play Tuesday morning in the preseason.
Sure. And they still get more viewers than the Field of Dreams game.
Yes.
Which was a big hit for the MLB, but still more people. Did you know this? Let me tell you something there in Mind of Steel. I'll tell you something. Did you know this? That more people watched the Steelers play the Cowboys Hall of Fame preseason game at 7-point-some million people compared to the Field of Dreams game, which was an excellent baseball game.
Oh, yes.
5.3 million. Versus they couldn't even beat a preseason football game.
Yes, and as we say here, folks, we're talking about the gridiron, but the great Mr. E has a mind for all sports, all things great like that, and I do too. And that game, the MLB did it right. They've done a lot of things wrong over the years. They continue to do things wrong, I think, with the salary cap and lack of salary cap. That was wonderful. I mean, that's one of my favorite movies. I got emotional when those guys started coming out. And you're kind of flipping back to the Steeler and Lions game, or the Steeler Cowboys game. And you're like, okay. But I found myself more transfixed on that game. And man, everything about that game was fun. Watching a ball disappear in a field of corn for real, it was ecstatic. And they're already talking about next year who's going to be in that game. It's going to be the Cubs and somebody. So I'm already looking forward to that. I think if you look at it next year, I bet you the viewership beats a preseason game if it's going up against it. But Steelers and Cowboys, too, are essentially, if I remember right, are the largest statistical fan bases in. So you really had the two best fan bases in all football teeing in for the Pro Football Hall of Fame game. So that was now if it was maybe the Jaguars versus the uh, the Jets,
The Cincinnati
the
Bengals.
Bengals and the Jaguars. I think the MLB game wins hands down. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So
Yeah, that is
yeah,
true. That is true. That is
yeah. Now the Bills versus the Bears. Bills are a 6-point favorite this one, and again, Andy Dalton is getting the start for the Bears. That ought to be fun there. Yeah, Andy Dalton he's a nice quarterback. He's a nice guy. Other than that, I don't know what to say about him. They called him the Red Rifle. I'm probably more of a Red Rifle than he is at this point. Well, not really. But that at least I think it gives the Bills defense a decent starting quarterback to go again in this game.
Sure.
So I think if you're a Bills fan, I think that's what you're turning in for. You're looking for the Bills. The one thing they did last year is they really turned it up on the blitzing. They blitzed almost 35% of the plays. They did it again last week. They looked good against the Lions. So I think you're going to see the Bills really try to tee it up on Andy Dalton. And again, no Tevin Jackson for the Bears, which, I mean, that was your second round pick in Chicago. You're probably dying to see what this kid can do. Russo, the number 30 pick for the Bills, real sexy pick there. He looked great last week, got a sack. How many times, over and under, how many times do you think he's going to sack Andy Dalton this week? Because that Bears offensive line is still a big question mark.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I do. I agree with you that I think this is the Bills game. I think that this is something that Andy Dalton. He was a good quarterback. He's good number two for them. They're just waiting for the heir apparent to show up in Chicago. So I get what they're doing. It's just not. It's just not going to be this weekend in preseason. I think that Andy Dalton will keep the game close, though. That's the trick. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
And I think, but all in all, I still think the Bills want to win this game. They're going to be the winners. They're going to cover, and I think that I would take the Bills in this game.
Yeah, and you're right about that. I think a lot of people have a lot of people have the Bills tagged as a Super Bowl contender this year, and that's got a lot of excitement, especially in Buffalo, going on there. So again, I would agree with you. I think they take this easily. But Andy Dalton, like I said, he's one of those guys where you never know what you're going to get, but you're probably not going to get necessarily a bad game out of the guy. He's not going to blow you away, but he's probably not going to mess it up for you either. So again, see how that Bills defense handles Andy Dalton for as long as he plays in this
Yes.
preseason game. But I would agree. I think they cover the spread and easily dispose of the Bears, who are admittedly rebuilding. So
And I think that in this game, you see, I just can't imagine that Andy Dalton's going to play more than a half. I don't know if they've announced how long he's playing, but
no,
I
no.
don't see that. And once that is done, then they're down to like a fourth or fifth string quarterback, really. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to. I just don't. I think I take the Bills, on this one.
Well, Mr. Eden, you kind of captured that with your all-knowing mind in the very beginning of this segment. This week is probably the one week in preseason where they don't really say how long someone's going to play. They kind of want to see and get a feel for it. So almost impossible to tell how long he's going to play unless maybe by tomorrow, or tonight, the coaches come out and say, well, hey, tomorrow he's playing 2 drives or 2 quarters. So, yeah. Brings us to our final game. We got the Steelers and the Lions. Steelers a 6.5-point favorite here. Big Ben will suit up. He is going to play. For how long? Again, not sure, but I think you're right. I would anticipate more than 1 or 2 drives against this team. The Steelers, that offensive line, still a rebuild. It hasn't looked horrible, but still a rebuild at this point. Probably still the big glaring question going into the regular season.
there's still players for the offense side I can't even see in my crystal ball because
Ooh,
they're not even there. Like Zach Banner, I don't know where's he been, what's
yeah,
going on. And I think there's too many question marks, even for the great Mr. E, to unravel this so far. Because I'm not saying I won't, but it takes a lot of time and a lot of work, and there's too many question marks. So,
yeah,
and the other thing is, if this was back in the Chuck Noll era, I would tell you that Roethlisberger would play until he got it right. It
yeah,
doesn't matter. He's going to play 2 series at most, win or lose or draw. Maybe a third if he looks really bad. Maybe, but that's
yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Because he goes down, that's the season. They don't. I mean, that's done.
Oh, yeah. Kendrick Green's probably cemented at center, the great center they drafted out of Illinois. So I'm very, very high on that kid. I like him already. He looks intense in practice. But you're right. Now, I have to correct myself. You were right in your infinite wisdom, Mr. E. I shouldn't have questioned you in week one. Trey Turner, I believe, was the person you were trying to think of with the K.
Yes, you're right. I was
Yes.
thinking Trey. I didn't. I thought of old Steelers. I couldn't get the crystal ball exactly tuned in yet. But you're
Right.
right. Trey Turner. He's on the offensive line. That's right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and the best I could come up was a silly cafeteria analogy, so shame on me. But still, and that's one of the things you're thinking about. Because my concern with the offensive line right now is who's the anchor. David DeCastro gone. All these guys are gone. I mean, they really don't have a legitimate veteran person on offensive line. Say, hey guys, let's bring together. This is what we need to do. So, I mean, it's essentially he's going to be a rookie in Kendrick Green, or maybe it is a veteran like Trey Turner, or if Banter, you could say, well, he played last year for like 2 snaps and he was gone for the rest of the season. So, it's really interesting, and that could make a very bad Detroit Lions team look decent this Saturday, 7:30 at night they play, I believe. So it's hard to tell. But that's there. They mirror the Bears and even the Bengals. Another team really trying to shore up. What are we gonna do with the offensive line? The Cowboys are another one. If you're a guy that loves that front trenches, these games should be somewhat interesting to you. See who's gonna get these starts. The Lions, they didn't look bad against the Bills last week. Goff looked like Goff. First drive was horrible. Second drive, he leads him down the field looking like Jared Goff. There was nothing spectacular, just 10 yards, 15, 8, 7, 6, and boom, they run in a touchdown. That's Jared Goff.
And that's what burns the Steeler defense too. That is what burns them. Especially
Right.
when they're playing a vanilla defense. When they're playing regular, they'll be playing a lot of vanilla, probably nickel, right?
Yep. Yeah. I know they go into this game 2-0, and I know the Lions are probably arguably in a bigger rebuild than the Steelers are at this point. But I don't know about that 6.5 spread. I'm going to take the under, and I don't think they're going to cover that.
And it is Steelers -6.
Steelers plus 6.5. Or
Oh,
favorites
plus
plus
6.
6.5, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Well, the other thing is we didn't talk about on the defense, which is again Kevin Colbert. I swear he has a mystical 2 balls. Okay, I tell you that man, GM. I tell you, he's amazing. He did the Minka Fitzpatrick trade a couple of years ago. Exactly what the team needed for defense. He knows. Okay, so now what's he do? He gets Schobert from the
Yeah.
Jaguars. Give him away like for nothing practically. Maybe I'm wrong, but I tell you, he looks like a give 6 pick. So you pick him up. He picks because they had nobody in that middle linebacker, nothing.
Right.
So
And now you.
again, he's the wizard, not me. Kevin Colbert, I give him the Wizard of the Week award.
Yeah, yeah, and Steeler fans out there probably licking their chops a little bit because now you have him and Bush who can drop into coverage. That's his specialty. And actually, this week reports out of Steeler camp, like even last Sunday, he's in camp for 24 hours or less. Than he's wearing a green dot. He was calling plays out. So no, Monday he was wearing a green dot. Sunday he's calling plays out on the defense. He came ready. He knew the playbook. He's ready to go. And T.J. Watt once he gets over his whatever he's got to go through. I mean, I thought that kind of humorous. He was at the game and at practice. He's with his trainer working out on the sideline, but he's not going to practice, which I don't know about that one. But anyway, yeah,
It's not. You know what? I'll tell you this though. It is like 1/100th of a Antonio Brown distraction.
which
You
was
know, it's
they
not
already
even
had one.
1%. It's like 1/10,000% of an
Yep.
Antonio Brown distraction.
And he was thrown out of practice today and out of the stadium because I think he went up against Chris Jackson. I think that may have been right. And he tore his helmet off during practice, so he was thrown out of practice today. So typical Antonio Brown day. He'll probably go home, film a video. We'll probably see it on YouTube here any minute. And then, next week he'll have 130 yards and 3 touchdowns. So
Yes,
you never know.
and they fight with a moving van.
Yes, yeah. If you listen, anybody in the Tampa area, if Antonio Brown orders pizza tonight, don't take it.
Don't stay at home.
Yeah, stay at home. Stay at home.
Maybe
Yeah.
you just put it on the porch. Say
Yeah.
I left the pizza. Don't. You're not gonna get a tip anyway. You know he doesn't tip.
Right.
Doesn't tip.
Right. Yeah.
But
say-
hopefully he
just-
doesn't come to your drive-through because he'll drive their Porsche pretty fast.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. So, so I agree. I just don't know if the Steelers are going to cover that spread, but you
That
never
is
know.
a lot of points for them in this. But the Lions, I don't know. Like you said, it's Goff. It's but I think he's going to play more than Roethlisberger in this game. That's what I foresee, and that is going to be enough to cover for the Lions to win and cover. So I think that the Lions will do this one.
Yeah, he's a younger version of Andy Dalton, so that Lions and Bears matchup's coming up. That's going to be fun to cover. Well, Andy Dalton's hopefully not playing, but with that Bears offensive line, I think he's going to be playing at some point. So, so that brings us to our week there for our couple games we've picked, and we'll see how the great Mr. E versus my steel trap mind can do. Any final thoughts, Mr. E, as we go into the weekend?
I would say this week is about as close as you get to real football before the real football, but it's only a quarter or two. So you've got to be patient. You've got to be patient. The money will come.
Yeah, like any fantasy football leagues have already drafted. This is the weekend they sit there and say, please God, whatever you do, let this guy stay healthy through this preseason game. So, but I think next week is why you have a big fantasy football week next week. My league's drafting next Friday. That's our 17th year. So we're all praying for no injury for any of our keepers.
Yes. And now, by the way, if you like the show, remember, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'll be here every week helping you pick the games, talking about the games, talking about the Wizards of the week and everything. Remember, we like to have you here. We have a coffee that's just going to be starting. Maybe I'll pull out the Mystic vodka. It'll be a good time for everybody. Hit the like button, subscribe.
Absolutely. We like the likes and we like the subscribes, and thank you for all those who have so far. And with that, I am the great Steel Trap, Mr. Darren Steele, with the great Mr. E. Thank you for joining us for Gridiron Picks.
Who's learning how to use the sound thing.
Yes.